Jackson Radio Show.
Welcome, everybody. Kevin Jackson here, back at you. KJRadio.com, on demand 24/7. 844-551-8255 if you want to talk to me. Talk to me. Come on. I want to talk to you. Anyway, here's the thing I want to focus on for a bit, and I want to talk about feminism. An acquaintance of mine named Jackie had this piece that she wrote about. It was on her Facebook page on feminism that I found profound in so many ways. It reminded me of Phyllis Schlafly, and it applies to what's going on in the secular world of Hollywood and, quite frankly, elsewhere, and how feminism has put this ugly face on womanhood and given it this thing that makes women feel empowered when in fact we're showing, and what Harvey Weinstein proved, and the feminists and the Holly weirdos and other leftist progressives, they hate this. He's proven that women are powerless against Weinstein, the god. That's what Meryl Streep called him, a god. She was essentially admitting he can do what he wants. And let me tell you, I said this earlier in the broadcast, had Harvey Weinstein's brother not outed him, he would continue doing what he wants. They would have to subtly go after him. Now, if you don't believe that, ask yourself a very simple question. I asked it earlier as well. Where are the other people that have done this? We know they're out there. People, go look at the stories related to Weinstein, where people say, that same thing happened to me with a producer. That happened to me with a director. Yeah, so-and-so, I was doing blah, 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 and I went to do this, and the producer, director, the gaffer, whoever, star after star comes out. Yeah, I got hit on, I got this, they grabbed this, that, and the other. And not a single one of them has told us a new name. What's it been that we've outed Harvey? 10 days, a week? He's over in rehab. Stories are abound. Go do your research. Reese Witherspoon just admitted somebody did it to me, but she wouldn't say who. It's amazing. So we got to guess. Hey, Reese, is there somebody sitting in that person's office right now hoping to get a role? Why don't you tell us who it is? Anyway, I think feminism has brought this on. I'm not saying it doesn't happen to men, but feminism has made men effeminate. Feminism has made more gay men than the pill, than prison. Feminism makes men effeminate. These women are powerful women. They want weak, submissive men. I don't know why. You can be a powerful woman and have a powerful man. That's the way it used to be. Haven't you guys seen the movie 300? When King Leonidas, his queen, is there, she's talking smack to the Persian. She's like, you're a woman, you speak. What are you doing speaking? She says, hey, what do you mean what am I doing speaking? She says, what are you doing speaking? Only Persian women give birth to real men. Shoot. She was in the dude's face. Leonidas he backed her play. Kicked him down the hole. Y'all remember? See, that was when women, she respected her husband. He was the king of the castle. Anyway, Jackie says this. When godless women take over, they often do it with sexuality. Godly women would never take over. They know God's hierarchy. Now, when you hear that, women are, even some conservative women, oh, she's talking about a woman has to be, downplayed by the, subservient and all these other things. She writes, keep in mind current events with women declaring their right to be as immodest and sexually free as they please. As I've said many times before, when women publicly show sexuality, it is not because they love men or even like them. When Herodias was offended by John the Baptist and therefore wanted him killed, she pimped out her daughter sexually to numb Herod with sexual stimulation and put him in a weakened state of mind. Jezebel, whose name is associated with idolatry, prostitution, and sorcery, wanted her husband's power and influence to cause Israel to worship Baal. She murdered and painted her face for this effort. She's also considered to be one of the first suffragettes fighting for independence. Modern women's emancipation and freedom in the 60s came first and foremost with sex. Nancy Pelosi pimped out Sandra Fluck for women's rights and birth control. Nothing new under the sun. God's order is for men to be in the head. This is a responsibility and a burden. As equal heirs, we as women are to be the symbols of a submitted church. This is a responsibility and a burden. It's very difficult to rein in human nature for power, but love is always expressed as the denial of self for another. Always. Just as Christ expressed it on the cross. I'm not trying to be preachy here. I'm not trying to be sanctimonious. I'm just telling you, if you look at society, I almost said society because that's what it is. If you look at society through the eyes of a person who is a theist, who has a belief in God of some sort, you see this. Feminism is war against God. There is no independence for the church from God, just as there is no independence for women from men. That is why spiritual law is also natural law. She writes this: 6 decades ago, the full throttle of the women's movement began with birth control, drugs, and emancipation from marriage and motherhood. Today, it's come to growing numbers of sexual assault accusations, not just against celebrities, but business, college men. We've seen a 9-year-old boy charged with harassment for calling a teacher cute. High school boys charged for not stopping a girl from drunk driving. There are real crimes going on, but criminalizing innocent men has always been part of the feminist platform. It's the goings on of brothels and harems. Marriage numbers are down. Divorce numbers are up. We will offend God, but we tiptoe around women's feelings. The American culture, after 60 years of the women's movement and leftist men all too happy to follow along, is an orgy of every wicked act under the sun. That's what she writes. I got to tell you, I reached out to Jackie. I was like, Jackie, this is deep stuff. So feminism wants men responsible for women, but gives them no authority. They want men to pay for their birth control. They want men to be responsible for children that they have no ability to say, I want or don't want, other than not committing the sexual act. But if that's committed and a woman decides what to do, the man has no authority. Women want the authority, but they don't want the accountability. They want somebody else to cover it. That would be the man. Cover my birth control, cover my child. If in the event I don't use birth control, you still have to be the person bearing the responsibility. The church is similar. It wants God responsible for everything while refusing his authority. The only place we unanimously reject this backwards thinking is in business, where money is involved. It's all backwards. So I hearken back to Harvey Weinstein. I look at where we are with these young ladies being essentially prostituted to Hollywood. Not just to Harvey, to the system of it. They always talk about, the left talks about systematic indoctrination of this or that, or systematic racism and systematic whatever. Let me tell you something. Look at where it occurs. The feminist movement claims that it's making all these strides, and right under its nose, in its midst, where all of its most powerful people exist, it says, I give authority to men. It doesn't give any authority to God. It doesn't give any authority to the church, but it gladly cedes that authority over to wretched men. But they'll look at you ladies, you conservatives, who say, you know what? I have no problem respecting my spouse as the head of the house and making him live up to both his duty and his burden, as she lives up to her duty and her burden to be a good woman, a good mother, a good spouse, a good lady, and to pass on these traditions to her daughter so that we can avoid these types of Holly weirdo situations. And the left, do you think the left cares? How many of these parents of these daughters do you think, if they knew what was happening, Ashley Judd's, her mom's a conservative, but look at all these ladies that have sent their daughters, and men have sent their daughters there, and knowing what's going on, do you think they'd look back on it and go, I wouldn't have done. They're all like, look at my daughter, she's amazing, she just got a new award, woohoo, look at her. Women's movement. The women's movement is responsible for so much negative in this country. It's shameful. And look, I come back to, I'm not talking about women being put into positions of authority, women being respected as equals to men in intellect, and so on. I have no issue with that. 0%. I love seeing women in power as long as they're wielding it effectively, without the way that Weinstein does or something like that. I applaud the women's movement for that, but not for the other stuff.
Kevin Jackson
on the Black Sphere Radio Network.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177, or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.